just like that, new intro, same time, same show, but 3 video bros on the screen. I'm Bobby Munson, way on the far side, the man with the angelic voice, Papa Smokes. And there, right in the center, it's the third video bro. It's Basser on screen joining us. And of course, our special guest, a paper cutout of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
How's it going, boys?
Boys?
Woo, yeah.
I'm doing
All
good.
right, boys.
All right, it's going to be a fun night talking some Prairie Pro Wrestling. But before that, we're going over to the chat. We got our boy, Josh Joseph. Mr. JJ's up in the house. He is the voice, and he's got some kick-ass shows, so make sure you're checking out all the work by our good friend Josh Joseph there. And, of course, we're going to see this man on Saturday. I'm certain of that. BDJ's up in the house, getting ready for another fun-filled night of Prairie Pro this Saturday night. And here we go. Yes, Astrid, you are in the intro. Welcome to... No, you got to get it right there, bastard. There you go, buddy. All right. But yes, you are in the new intro for Prairie for Ring Respect Radio, mind you. Brand new debuted here tonight. So you made it the cut because, again, we want to celebrate the fact that we've had a lot of guests on the show throughout the past year. So, of course, we had to include all of that. And yes, we're going to continue to have people on screen, just like the Bass Man right in the middle there. Bobby Stats is up in the house. He said Alexander Hammerstone is wrestling against Jacob Fatu in the Fusion tapings on December 7th. That card is so fucking stacked that they're putting these guys on the tapings for Fusion. That's fantastic. That's a good problem to have when it comes to MLW.
Well, might as well. Hey, they got the chance to do Hammerstone Fatu 3 while Alex is still kicking around for a little bit. I say pull the trigger and do it. That's a money match.
Yeah, and hold on here. Josh, you weren't paying attention, my friend. You are towards the beginning of the new intro.
He was on it. Yeah, I saw.
You are in there, my man. You are in there. Astrid's in there too, but so are you, my friend. So don't worry about it. We got you. We got you cased. We got you cased. You're a boy. We got you in there. Kind of thing.
I appreciate that you put my close personal friend, Mr. Thomas, on there too, Munson. Nice call. Nice call.
Okay, how could I not pop the smokes? I mean, come on.
That is true.
You guys are like this, just like this. BDJ saying hello to Basser there. Again, gonna be seeing you guys down at ringside and me probably running the hard cam this coming Saturday night for PPW Presents Seasons Beatings. Talk about that in just a moment. Bobby also mentioned that Zeta Steel has joined the World Titan Federation. That's good because they need to get 50% of the MLW roster before that thing all goes bye-bye. And Astrid can confirm that Josh is in there too. Thank you, Astrid. Thank you. And Josh saying, how am I to pay attention? I'm high. Listen, my man. Listen. I don't know if you know this about me, but I've got all sorts of gears, gadgets, buttons, and widgets and woozads over on the side. And I've been getting nice and primed here for the last few hours. So it can be done, man. It can be done. Trust in Bobby. So, boys, PPW. Basser, first of all, let's talk about your chair injury, your chair-related mishap from Prairie Pro Wrestling's Ring of Horrors Part 2 in that chairs match. How are you doing after all that? We've talked about it on the show here. I want to know, what's the update on the Basser condition?
It was the best moment of my life.
There we go.
There's a fine line between getting the shot and getting in the way. And I think it was my second show taping, so I was just trying to get the shot and also stay out of the way. And I saw top of the ramp, someone was holding the chair above his head, and you don't think he's gonna throw it, right? Like, maybe he'll hit someone with it. And all of a sudden you just see it coming, and I jumped and it was back and to the left and it hit me in the leg. And I remember it hurt, but I was so pumped. I just went by the ring and got out of the way for a bit. But it was honestly, I literally showed every person that I met for 3 weeks because the bruise was just a big black spot on my leg. So it was a good time. 10 out of 10 would do again.
Pastor, JJ saying is the Rock trying to sneak up on you there. He fears that you may be in danger. Oh, take that, John.
He ain't sneaking up on me. Just kidding.
Oh, he's going to pick him up. But here, before we even talk about PPW here, Bobby Stats here wants to know, Mr. Basser, which wrestling company do you like to watch?
Oh, I only, when I do watch, it's PPW, but other than that, it's WWE. I went to AEW when it came to town, but solely because my buddy bought us tickets. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, I'll go. It's wrestling. And it was a great show, but it's for me, it's just too much WCW 2.0, like Shivani and Sting and Ric Flair in the ring. I've seen that when I was an 8-year-old. Like I'm just good on it. I don't know. So I'm a WWE guy. I was a Punk guy when he left. When he was gone, I wasn't a Punk guy because I was like, he's never coming back. And then when he came back, I turned into a 13-year-old boy. I wonder if he'll call us names.
Basser marked out for Punk.
Man, it was like when Edge returned at the Rumble, the Hardys at Mania, and then Punk. They put the copyright in the corner. It was done. I thought it was done. They got us good.
BDJ coming in like Mussolini.
Cornet.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. But PPW guys, let's talk about seasons beatings coming up this Saturday. Again, tickets have been flying off the shelf. I'm not even sure how many are legitimately left at this point in time, because I'm telling you, PPW's social media has been lighting up with messages coming in asking about how to get tickets, where to buy the tickets. So we've been telling them they're at the sponsors. If you want the VIP tickets, they're, double the price, and they're no problem. Those have been selling like crazy. So it is going to be another packed house. I'm not sure if we will see the same lineup we saw for for Ring of Horrors, but I'm anticipating that we will see a sellout capacity nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hardy's at Mania, I will never be able to forget. I got goosebumps being that you were there live. That would be even better. Anything in a live experience is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, almost all wrestling can be a little bit more forgiving when you watch it in a live capacity versus watching it on TV. I mean, even Papa Smokes and I went to an AEW show this year. Who would have thunk it? So. But
I didn't see that one coming. But I like what Basser said though too. Is that's his favorite thing to watch is PPW. You know why? It's because we're all jammed in there, all together, and the action is right in front of you. Very interactive. Get a great close-up look at everybody. You can hear everything. You can see everything. It's such an immersive experience.
Yeah.
You can feel the screams. Like it's like a wave. When they're yelling, it's like, oh man.
Oh, like even when I have to go back and do the edits on the tapings that we do there for the show, it's absolute insanity. The things that you don't hear when you're in that live capacity because so much is going on, and then you get down to the actual tape of it and you hear the things being said. I'm like, man, these wrestlers really do take a beating verbally from the PPW Nation. Like some very, very hurtful stuff that will never be repeated will not make the cut, because again, that's where good old Papa Smokes and I come into town and put our vocals over top so that we can make sure that those very untasteful comments that come from some of the very obnoxiously drunk PPW Nation don't make the cut exactly well. But the screams are deafening. I mean, when they get the good chance going at PPW, all the stuff that's really positive there, man, that energy is so electric that even Papa Smokes and I can't drown them out when we record.
Yeah, no doubt. And for all the negatives, there are more positives, I think. And the way the crowd gets caught up in the energy of the whole thing, feeding it to the wrestlers, who then feed it back to them. It's just like waves of energy going on through the crowd sometimes. This is what I'm looking forward to on Saturday night. special feeling. As you guys know, being part of the action or being a fan in the crowd, same idea. Just there's a bunch of people that want to party and then an electric show about to go on. Love that feeling.
You bet. And Bobby saying MLW is great too. You know, Bobby, we love our MLW, and that's why next Thursday night you're going to be able to join us on a very special edition of Ring Respect Radio as we go live with MLW's One Shot. So One Shot going to be coming at you live. We're going to be doing the watch along tailgate party here live on Ring Respect Radio. BDJ wants to know what's the best fan chant at PPW. And you know, boys, we're going to keep this clean. So I will say that when they're talking about El Asesino, the Little Richard chant, and you can do the math from there, that is used towards El Asesino is actually quite humorous and something that doesn't get blocked out. But there has been some interesting
I got a few.
remember.
No, they're good ones.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking.
Guy in suit.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then who wears short shorts? Blaze wears short shorts. That's a strictly PPW.
That goes way back, actually.
Does it? Or maybe not.
That predates Blaze, to be honest with you. It actually used to be for Vance, Nevada.
So does Little Richard. That predates. That's going way back to Bobby Gamble. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's true. But it is a good chant, and people get them in there. Bob Smokes, how about yourself? What are some of the better PPW chants?
Well, it's not PPW, it's before that, but the best one was Poodle Hair of all time. You know that.
I know that story.
That one too.
Yeah, that's a classic story right there, and some good razzing that was done back in the day. Let's go over to Bobby here, who says, who would we like to see wrestle against Amir Jordan at PPW? Well, first, Bobby, I will let you know that coming up, it's probably going to be towards the end of December. On the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel, we will have the match that Amir Jordan did wrestle in Prairie Pro Wrestling coming at you. And it was actually Michael Richard Blaze and the Rhinestone Cowboy, Stephen Crow, as they took on Amir Jordan and Brock Ronnie in a very, very high-intensity, fantastic tag team matchup. It is going to be free for you guys coming up here probably just before the new year. So stay tuned for that over at Prairie Pro Wrestling. But again, if Amir Jordan was to roll back in, boys, to Prairie Pro Wrestling, who on the roster in a one-on-one competition would we like to see him go against?
Morris Waltz.
Oh, just a recent guest on the show here too.
He honestly, I didn't know the man had so much character because I don't remember hearing him talk all that much. But watching that episode, I was like, man, he's got something. He was cutting promos on you guys, and it was awesome. So I'd like to see him. That'd be a good match.
Yeah,
that's a great call, man. He's got talent and potential just oozing everywhere, don't you think? He caught my eye right off the bat from his first PPW appearances. Love that guy. As for Amir Jordan, I was thinking of an opponent, the Thickness, Reed Matthews.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I like the sounds of that one, Papa Smokes. That's a great, fantastic option right there. Personally, I'd like to see him go toe-to-toe with our champion because, again, nobody else has managed to defeat the champ just yet. I'd like to see Akbar Shabazz going up against Amir Jordan and see if Amir Jordan might have that much of the ability to put the shoulders to the mat. Bobby with a great suggestion, Amir Jordan, Son of Irish. And Bobby, we got a Son of Irish match coming up here, not this Saturday. This Saturday, we've got Taryn from Accounting making her debut in Prairie Pro Wrestling against Saskatoon's favorite wrestler, Phil Deadly. But then the following Saturday after that, we will have for you, just recorded the commentary for it tonight, Son of Irish taking on El Asesino. So stay tuned for that one. El Asesino, a very angry man. But yes, I want to go to this one here from our good friend JJ. What moment has made you a fan of PPW over the other promotions? I mean, I can tell you straight up, it's starting it was a big factor. Being there from the ground up definitely was 100% a factor. But you know what? If I take a look at it from as an outsider's perspective, when I look at Prairie Pro Wrestling and the wrestling matches that are put together and the storytelling that our bookers and promoters and the management are doing at Prairie Pro Wrestling, I enjoy their way of putting wrestling together. And that's the best way I can put it. That's what made me confident in wanting to be a part of Prairie Pro Wrestling. And that's what continues to make me love watching the product as much as I do with the editing process and being there in a live capacity. I'm as much a fan as I am involved with the promotion personally. Papa Smokes, we'll go to you and then Vassar on this one.
For sure. I echo some of those sentiments too, Munson. It's been great to watch the company grow from acorn into a tree kind of thing. But I would still say my favorite match, or the match that made me a fan the most, was the first big main event we had. We had a lot of matches before that, but we didn't have any story or feud or angle until Michael Allen Richard Clark versus Jacob Creed.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
blow off to that feud was, of course, the lights out, no disqualification match between the two. And my God, without going into that in great detail, what a match that was. What a show those guys put on. And what a finale, captured perfectly by Bobby Munson, and just managed to get one of those classic Bill Apter shots for Pro Wrestling Illustrated of the finale. Just perfect.
It was great to be down there close at ringside. A little scary at the same time, too, watching Jacob Creed hung with that bull rope there by Michael Allen Richard Clark. But, Vassar, how about you? I know you've been on the inside for the last few events. This is actually going to be your fourth time on the floor taping with us. So, outside of that, though, I mean, you've been a fan since the beginning of Prairie Pro Wrestling. But what drew you in?
Well, I've always been a wrestling fan my whole life. Obviously, when I was a kid, I grew up in Humboldt. Not a lot of wrestling came through there, so I used to take the old hike from Humboldt to the Prairieland Park and go see Stampede Wrestling. Bobby, you were probably there. We were just two leaves in the world floating around until we found each other. But I'd die for those shows. Just, go in, small crowd, ring, just get her done. And WWE was never like that. You go to the shows, you're sitting 50 feet back. You're just there watching. But when you go to PPW, you feel like you're part of the show. Even for the first show, it's just such a unique environment where if you want to say something, you can say it. You better be good, but you can say it, And you walk in, you feel welcome in the building. It's just a straight walk in. There's your seats. Let's get her done. There's the beer. It's I don't know, man. I can't explain it. I remember when I was an electrician, I came into where you used to work, Bob, where I currently work, and someone's like, "Yeah, Rob over there started a wrestling company," and I was like, "No way." So I came and talked to you. You told me about it, and I think I've missed one or two shows, but I think they're both COVID related. So I'm going to keep it that way. But yeah, no, the moment you walk in, it's like family, man. Everyone's nice to everybody. There's no one trying to start nothing. It's just a good time. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the initial thing was.
And JJ is mentioning, Vassar, that your answer is exactly how he felt in the ECW crowd, and he misses ECW. And again, it's got that community feel, and that's the best part. Like, the wrestlers take time, engage with the fans, and truly engage. Because I mean, if you can give it out, you better be able to take it back. And we've seen firsthand, even somebody have themselves shoved into a chair a few times because they decided to step up to El Asesino. And I've warned fans, don't step up to El Asesino. I stood across the ring and looked straight in the eyes of the Mexican Devil before. And I have never been so afraid in my damn life than at that very moment that I thought that he was going to end me for good. So I warn everybody, whether it's El Asesino or anybody else, talk shit all you want, but don't get too close, because damn it, man, these are legitimate trained athletes, and they are tough as nails, and they will mess you up something bad. So definitely stay out of the way. Bobby Hale and Cannonball Kelly matches, but those matches are complete chaos. And Bobby, in the new year, we will eventually get the release of Cannonball Kelly and El Asesino in the chairs match from the Ring of Horror show, the one where Basser took the chair to the leg, got all bruised up. But that was the least amount of injury inflicted on somebody during the chairs match that night, because Cannonball Kelly and El Asesino, they destroyed each other. I don't know if either one of them is going to be the same after that. I'm curious to see what condition they're both in come December 2nd, this Saturday night, and who they might be after. Does this end the rivalry now that El Asesino has picked up that victory over Cannonball Kelly? Is he moving on from here? And where does El Asesino move from here? Is he eyeing up Sheik Akbar's title sometime soon?
Good. All questions without answers. I'll tell you, I saw El Asesino's back after that chairs match, and it looked like, what's that called, Munson? Steak tartare, where you take one of those
no
beef and chop it and beat it with a hammer. Like, that's literally what it looked like. He was in rough shape, man. He's a tough guy. He's too tough to admit it. He wouldn't show that he was hurting. You only had to look at him to see how badly he'd been hurt that night. And that was probably nothing compared to Cannonball.
Oh, Cannonball Kelly was red from head to toe, and that even his shirt changed from the first shade of red to a completely different shade of red by the time the match was over, in fact. And I want to know, Bobby, like, you can check this out for us. How many times in wrestling history has somebody utilized a wheelchair in a chairs matchup? Because it was done in this particular matchup between Cannonball Kelly and El Asesino. They used any kind of chair that fit the description throughout this matchup. And I was impressed. I mean, gimmick matches work when they are built like this one. And this one, again, was built over about 6 or 7 months to get to this tipping point of a chairs matchup. And I believe that the payoff was worth every step of the way, kind of thing. The fact that it was built in that way, got to that boiling point, and the payoff at Ring of Horrors was absolutely phenomenal. Those fans were on their feet for the longest PPW show we have ever done, because, again, it was so chaotic with having that big ass crowd there and having to turn people away. The show started 30 minutes late, which is not like us at all. And again, we had to get things rolling. Everything gets out there, we get going, but not one fan wanted to leave. It was phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to the chaos this coming Saturday. Gonna ask you, boys, let's talk about what we know is on this card. We have one match in particular that's on this card. It is something that happened at the last card as well, too. Tony, Novak, Colton, Kelly. They were having a match last time. Double count out, no victory for either one of these two individuals. Tony's claiming rights to get a rematch against Sheik Akbar Shabazz after feeling like he was robbed in his second opportunity for the belt. Colton Kelly, we know, officially has a legitimate claim to the title matchup. If it wasn't for getting attacked and being injured, then he would have had his title shot, never got it. He's now back, wants that title shot. So these two are going to collide one-on-one in a number one contenders match at Prairie Pro Wrestling Season Beatings this Saturday night. And I'm going to go to you first, Basser. Looking at this one in particular, what do you think the outcome's going to be? And do you think Sheik has got a favorite in this one, who he would prefer to take on when at the victor of?
I feel like Tony's had a lot of chances. I feel like Tony knows he's had a lot of chances. I feel like this is Tony's last chance. Normally, I wouldn't be betting on Tony, but on this night, I have Tony. And I bet Sheik's wanting Tony because he's smaller. He's easier to throw around. But I think we're betting on Tony this Saturday.
And don't underestimate him, because, again, had it not been for the DQ call by the referee, Tony would have won the championship at the last matchup. He had Sheik pinned. He had him beat. Referee calls for the DQ. and it never happens. Before we go to you on the same question, Papa Smokes, we welcome Mel Ball Collins up in the house. How are you doing, Mel? Glad to see you here on Ring Respect Radio. Thank you for tuning in. We got Bobby saying he's picking Tony Novak as well, too. Seems like people leaning towards Novak this time. The different story several months ago when Tony Novak got that first shot against Shiki. Now all of a sudden a bit of a turnaround where people might be feeling that energy of Rocket Shoe Tony Novak. Papa Smokes, how about yourself on this encounter? Who do you think?
Yeah, I totally feel it for Rocket Shoes Novak. I was one of the ones that sang his praises before his first title shot. Some people said, oh, it's too soon. He's too young. Oh, he doesn't have enough victories. No, I thought it was a good idea. The first time they met didn't go so great for Novak. He got some stuff in, but it was kind of a one-sided victory on the Sheik's part. The second match, however, was a lot different. Like we talked about on the podcast at the time, Tony did his homework. He looked at his weaknesses in that first match. He looked at what the problems were, and he came out to that second match with a completely different game plan. A game plan that looked like it was going to win. If the referee hadn't been out of position, he probably would have had that 3 count. If the disqualification wasn't called, he might have had the 3 count there too. That second time, very, very close. So whereas I see that both wrestlers have a claim on wanting that next title shot, Colton Kelly having earned his in the tag team match with Cannonball Kelly, pinning Sheik Akbar Shabazz in the tag match. Obviously, he still do his rematch.
So I'm wondering, though, does PPW management remove that opportunity for Colton Kelly if he isn't victorious? Like, if Tony beats him, does PPW management then wipe the slate clean and take away the opportunity for Colton Kelly completely?
Maybe Colton will be the first challenger.
Could be. In fact, maybe Tony would owe him a challenge if Tony was to go on and win that title. But again, we've seen, Tony has been very surprising since coming to PPW. I know, Papa Smokes, you and I saw this young man taken from the audience at an HIW show here in Saskatoon. He looked like he was just dressed there to be a fan. He was there with, his lady at his side, and he gets dragged into the ring by El Asesino. Gets brought in there, gets his nose broken that very night by El Asesino. Just absolutely color everywhere from it. But the one surprising thing was he got an upset victory over El Asesino on that night, and that is what earned him an opportunity to be working at HIW. And since then, he continued to train, to practice, to be there all the time. He worked his way up. But when PPW started, he took those opportunities. He went out there. The confidence grew. And he actually, if you look back, Tony's wins outweigh his losses in Prairie Pro Wrestling. And people have been sleeping on it for quite some time. Papa Smokes and I have been saying it for a while. Watch out. Because, again, it's that heart, it's that tenacity of Tony Novak. It's that drive to do better that keeps him kind of at the top. And despite all the naysayers out there, I think Tony Novak, I'm going to have to say as well, a surprising pick for this Saturday. I love Colton Kelly. Don't get me wrong. Colton Kelly, a very established, great wrestler. But damn, it's going to be interesting. So another big... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Papa Smokes.
So I was going to say, I think something that steers it towards Novak, too, is you can see the frustration is building in Tony Novak, too. He's getting pissed off. He's starting to think different ideas. He wants to get this done at all costs. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Tony. We don't know him as a guy who bends the rules generally, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him take any little opportunity to get this win. This will be the biggest match of Novak's life.
Well, and Basser, weren't you kind of saying this to me as well, too, privately in a text message? You mentioned, is this the time that we see Tony Novak snap? That we see Tony Novak go to a darker place to find that victory, man? And if that happens, this man right in the middle, the third video, bro, I'm calling it right now. He called it.
I've when I was just a fan, I would chirp Tony because I was trying to get him to turn heel. It never worked, but he doesn't have to turn heel. But some heel tactics could be he needs moving forward.
Yeah, and we got Bobby Sats mentioning both of them would be great in TNA or MLW. I'd love to see any of the PPW roster with those kinds of opportunities, to be honest. Anybody who we've had an opportunity to know and see within our ranks go to one of these companies like TNA or an MLW, it's great. The fact that, we didn't really get to call one of Giselle's matchups before Giselle left to go start touring and become the star that Giselle has become. It's cool to know that we were there witnessing Giselle working within Saskatoon for quite a while. No problem, Basser. We'll keep the ball rolling here in the meantime and in between time. But yeah, it's great to see, and I would love to see any of the PPW roster get their way over there. I know that, some of them are getting to a point of hanging up the boots, but I'd even like to see what El Asesino would do to some of the rosters over there in TNA and MLW.
Oh man, can you imagine that? There'd be a new level of madness there. The calling's got nothing on what the Mexican Devil could get done.
It's so true, absolutely true. And again, remember that you're going to be able to join us next Thursday night for that MLW one-shot watch along. It's going to be fantastic. I want to talk about another big thing coming out of PPW from the last show. That's going to be, I believe, I don't know 100% for sure, but if I remember correctly, it was said that we will see the unveiling of the brand new Prairie Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championships at season meetings. I believe so. I cannot guarantee that they made it in time because we got some top-notch designers working on these things. They are beautiful. I have seen the blueprints for them. They are beautiful, and I can't wait to be able to share that with the world. Hopefully they do get unveiled this Saturday so we can get some nice pictures of those things out there. But looking at the tag division right now, boys, we saw some real unfoldings at the last show at Ring of Horrors. We saw the team that's really been dominating the tag division of Michael Richard Blaze and the Rhinestone Cowboy, Stephen Crow, getting absolutely mauled by a brand new faction forming within Prairie Pro Wrestling, led by wrestling's smartest man, Bucky McGraw, and at his side, his hired muscle, we've got the Dixie Dragon and the returning Jacob Creed. This is massive. And again, Blaze and Crow took an absolute beating from these guys, and it is looking dangerous. Basser, your initial thoughts on what Bucky's got going on with the new boys here?
Ooh, Bucky's a dangerous man. He's too smart to not be dangerous. When I saw those two guys come into the ring, I just about jumped the guardrail and became a fan again, just so I could be safe. I think that's the first time being that close to Jacob Creed. That's a scary man.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
If you would ask me before the last show, who's going to be the tag champs, I'd be like, oh, yeah, we got the Cowboy and we got Michael Richard Blaze, but I don't know anymore. Great. The boys got a lot of gold this week or the last few weeks out in Alberta, but that might be crossing that bridge. There's a couple trolls that might be a little too hard to get past, I think. I didn't mean they're trolls, but
I mean, you're not lying. I mean, they're a couple of giant trolls. I mean, Dixie Dragon himself, a big, large, scary man, but Jacob Creed. I mean, this guy looks like the kind of guy that pitches hay bales all day, gets drunk, goes to a bar, beats a few people up, and then goes to the wrestling show to put on a match. He's a scary dude. And Bob Smokes, you've experienced it. Creed coming down to the ring when he gets right in the face of the cameraman. I know you've now experienced it like I have before. How intimidating is Jacob Creed? And what do you think of this new faction?
Yeah, for your first question, very much so. I'm a tallish guy, but he towers over me, and wow, is he a big dude. I've said it before. I've had my problems with Jacob Creed the last time he was in PPW. There were various backstage events, fights, things that were said to PPW management in front of the crowd. I definitely wasn't crazy about that.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I don't want to push something physical with this guy because he's a lunatic and he won't think twice about smashing somebody's face in. Now that he's back working here, I love him as a talent. And I love the effect he has in the ring. But yeah, you said it about intimidation. The size of him and the aggressiveness and the size of Dixie Dragon. These two are they're like a road warriors or a powers of pain or something, just absolutely massive and with violent, malicious tendencies. And this just absolutely changes the entire power structure of the tag team division in PPW, which is kind of just developing. Like you said, we thought we kind of had it cased. The Cowboy and Michael Blaze seem to have the division kind of on lockdown, but oh boy, this shakes things up tremendously with the arrival of Creed and the Dixie Dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, witnessing this whole thing, we know Bucky's been trying for a long time to extend that hand to get somebody to shake it and be on his side. It was getting to the point where I was thinking nobody's going to bother to get re-educated. Nobody's following the path of the golden truth. And Bucky McGraw, it's never going to happen. And then, wow, we are experiencing quite the shakeup here. And again, like Papa Spoke said, Jacob Creed, I can't condone the actions that he had towards PPW management or any of the things that were said during that time. It got chaotic. I still remember the experience. We were down there ringside when that fight broke out backstage. The two of us had to run back there to check it out. I mean, absolute chaos, madness. Bobby saying, how about the Grizzled Young Veterans as PPW Tag Team Champions? Yes, if the Grizzled Young Veterans want to come here and work for us, I'm sure that could be arranged. Bucky and Chad Kruger going to win it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. I like that
match where they look like each other. That'd be perfect.
That would be funny. How about that guy that was dressed as Bucky McGraw at the last show that looked absolutely identical to him? Loved it. How's it going? Chris Parrish is up in the house. How you doing, brother? Thanks for joining us here on Ring Respect Radio as we're talking Prairie Pro Wrestling. Yeah, but the tag division is electric. I'm sure we're going to see more unfold this coming Saturday with that for sure. And then just some of the other people on the card. Again, last time out, we saw Taryn from Accounting get a Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship shot. Sheik Akbar Shabazz thought he'd be funny when he picked his opponent and picked Taryn from Accounting, but she took him to the limit. Taryn from Accounting gave Sheik one hell of a fight, and she looked on fire. Again, I believe the Taryn is definitely scheduled for December the 2nd. We'll find out just what she's got in store for the roster. But guys, last couple times out, Taryn, how have you been feeling about Taryn and Prairie Pro Wrestling in her debut here for us?
You want to go first, Papa?
Sure. I was going to say I'm loving it, and I think the fans are loving it too. They were a little chilly with her in her first appearance when she had to take on Phil Deadly, a perennial favorite around here. But I think things have come around now, and she's looking good. I think Sheik Akbar Shabazz, yeah, like you say, playing a little bit, picked Taryn as his opponent for that evening, and thought he might get a little night off there. And boy, was he surprised, because she comes with a lot more spirit and a lot more fight than the Sheik gave her credit for.
Yeah, really did. Basser, your thoughts on Taryn so far in Prairie Pro?
Oh, man, like I watch a lot of wrestling on Instagram, watch like clips from the guys out west, and you always see Taryn and you don't see her at PPW. It's like, it's okay, whatever. And then she shows up, and the first show, just like Papa said, she was up against Phil. I mean, that's people literally dance for the man. I mean, good luck.
Yeah. We know from other shows we've been to, Basser, it's like you don't mess with Phil Deadly. I mean,
I'm not going to boo you. I'm not going to boo you, Phil, basically. But Taryn, she's great. She's a great wrestler. She goes back and forth with the fans. She knows how to treat them. If they're yelling at her, she yells back. She fits right in. Just like when Stephen Crow showed up. It was like, oh, well, this guy's amazing. All of a sudden, the next show, everyone's dancing. Same with Taryn. There wasn't a person not cheering for her at the last show. So another great addition. We're lucky. It's every now and then we get another great addition, sometimes 2 or 3 per show, but it's As a fan of PPW, it's great to have her.
We're always trying to keep it fresh at Prairie Pro Wrestling, and that's the best part about it. And like you mentioned, Stephen Crow, let's not kid ourselves. Stephen Crow moves tickets for Prairie Pro Wrestling. There is a whole one of the whole VIP sections that every time they request tickets to the show, they specifically want to be there for Stephen Crow, the Rhinestone Cowboy. They absolutely love the Rhinestone Cowboy, and you can tell that's where Stephen goes to after his matchups and celebrates with that portion of the VIP crowd, gets right in there. The big bear hug happens amongst the crew. Everybody, the PPW Nation's great, but that crew down there with their signs and everything like that, absolutely hysterical. They have really livened up. They've taken the show from a level 10 to like a level 15 all of a sudden. We didn't know we could go above 10, and these guys were like, hold my beer.
Hold my beers. And this one.
Well,
And
I love the way
BDJ wants to get some Basser merch.
yeah, it's a hell of an idea.
I got nothing.
I like it too. Let's get some Basser merch done up. That would be
It's
great.
got to be him wearing the shorts in the winter. That's got to be something.
Yeah.
Oh, the doors open at 7. I'll be here at 4:45.
Yeah. Basser was literally sitting outside of a Prairie Pro Wrestling show. It was like minus 30, something like that. Yeah, in February, in shorts and a jacket, watching Elimination Chamber on his phone, waiting for the doors to open for Prairie Pro Wrestling.
You got to get front row.
Yeah,
and Bobby says it's actually a level 20, not a 15. And I agree with you, Bobby. That's a great comment. Level 20 indeed. With Novak's son. Yeah, what happened there, BDJ? Can you answer that one for us?
Didn't Novak's son win the 50-50 at the last show?
Sure did. Sure
he did. Yeah,
What a guy to win it. Everyone's just like,
oh, we got Bobby's laughing, so we know we've had a good show here tonight. But yeah, no, it's gonna be great seeing the PPW Nation. Of course, love to go out there beforehand, kind of get to talk to them, see all the excitement in their faces. They're lining up for another Prairie Pro show. Again, I'm just going to go on over and check the poster here for Prairie Pro Wrestling Seasons Beatings. Again, everything's always subject to change, of course, but I just want to kind of take a look here and let you guys know who else is to be expected on the roster. So let's talk about, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
While you're doing that, can I do a little show and tell?
Show and tell? Yeah.
Yeah.
So right here, this is my Rad's foam finger. I bought it from Rich King at the BEW show in Warman. It usually goes on the Rock's hand, but I took it off for today. And then this shirt is a wrestler from Montreal named Carl Jepsen.
I love the Carl Jepsen shirt. That is
so the joke is, Carl, his face don't change. Whether he's happy, sad, surprised, fear, the man's face just... I wear this to weddings and funerals. It's my special shirt. All right, I'm all done.
No, it's all good, man. That's fantastic. Love that. Yes, Mars the Specialist is going to be in the house for Prairie Pro Wrestling this Saturday. I know he mentioned that on social media. Guys, Mars the Specialist, big kicking ass and taking names since making a debut in Prairie Pro Wrestling. Thoughts on Mars? Basser, go to you first.
When he first started coming, I was a fan, and I would be about 10 beer deep and be calling him short and stuff. And then you get to see him wrestle, and it's like, there's a lot packed into that package. Like the moves that he does, some of the things he does, I've never seen before. Literally, just never seen. He runs up to the ropes, does the thing off his neck, and bounces back. Never seen it. Like he's strong little bastard, quick. Him and the thickness. There's a tag team for the boys. Like those two are.
We saw that. Yeah. Saw the debut.
I'm a big fan of Mars. Big fan of the thickness. I hope they got a team and get a Cole in the fighter.
And Melball saying Mars's spider suplex from the corner is insane. Just about everything that guy does is insane. I love it. Like I don't think I've watched a match that Mars has done for us or for anybody else for that matter that I didn't thoroughly enjoy. I just really like the dude's style. I quite enjoy it. And again, him teaming with Reed Matthews, the Short Kings. What a dominating looking tag team right there. They look fantastic in the ring together. But yeah, Papa Smoke's thoughts on Mars, thoughts on them as a tag team with the thickness as well too.
Well, I like the way Basser put it too, is that there's always going to be somebody that's in the crowd or more than one people that's going to yell, you guys are short, or you got some short thing. Oh yeah, those mouths get shut up in a big hurry, and they have at every single show those guys have played for us, because those dudes, I mean, being vertically challenged is one thing, but both of those dudes make sure that they make up for that in intensity, talent, technical ability. They both have a cardio that never seems to let up. Good wrestlers, man, and you can't ask for more than that. I love the way it's going with Mars and the thickness, Reed Matthews for that matter. They may look alike, they're different wrestlers, but both of these guys I like a whole bunch. Mars in particular, he's got some hot shit, man, and I love to see it every match. That's a guy who's got potential in PPW to start working his way up the card towards the main events, and who knows, maybe he'll be in that championship picture in the next upcoming months.
For sure. Melball, and I know Basser, you said love their pod as well too, but the Short Kings actually have a podcast, and I've heard this multiple times. I definitely got to get myself listening to it. Apparently these guys are great together on podcasting, so I'd love to check out listening to the Short Kings podcast. So a shout out to the Short Kings podcast for the boys here at Ring Respect Radio. Let's go to this question. This is more MLW related. So again, this probably be more geared towards myself and Papa Smokes, but they announced from MLW, Selena De La Renta making her in-ring wrestling debut at the MLW Fusion tapings on December the 7th. She's going to be wrestling against Ishiban. And again, they've been really pushing the hell out of Ishiban, but they're putting Selena De La Renta in there. And we know Selena De La Renta is the type that will go to any level to make sure that her success happens. And I believe that despite the fact this being her first match and Ishiban being on a roll, Ishiban better watch himself, because I think Selena De La Renta is going to kick some major ass that night. Papa Smokes, how about yourself? Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I read about this match on X today, and I just kind of thought, yeah, it's a setup for sure. Ichiban, watch your back. Selena De La Renta, I've seen her wrestle a little bit, bits and pieces here and there. She can wrestle, but I smell a rat. She's gonna put you down, Ichiban. She's gonna put you down bad.
We got Bobby agreeing that he thinks Selena is gonna win this one.
Yeah.
Basser, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Ishiban or Selena De La Renta. If you want to try to take a stab at answering that question.
I'll go with Ichiban.
There you go with Ishiban. All right. Go for Ishiban. But we'll find out when that match finally gets released on MLW Fusion in the upcoming weeks. Of course, that being a pre-taped Fusion match this coming Thursday, as Thursday is the big night MLW One Shot. You're going to be able to join us here for the tailgate watch-along party and some great matchups, stacked card. It's going to be a blast. I can't believe they're giving us this level of a card on a Thursday night. It's going to be perfect. And BD, Munson. I like this one. I'm going Ichiban because favorite noodles.
Exactly.
Sorry, Papa Smokes.
Will One Shot just be on YouTube?
No, it's again Fight Plus. This is a premium live event, just like the ones that are typically on a Saturday, but this time around they're going with a Thursday night event. Hey, let's go for it. It sounds like it's going to be a fun time.
For sure.
Doing that. I'll have to double check to see what time it's starting. We might have to have a special start time. I have to confirm that to see what time Fight TV has it going on, and I definitely am going to have to arrange some stuff to make sure that we make way so we can get started along with the start of the program as well. And while we're doing that as well too, you're gonna be hearing us talking about Prairie Pro Wrestling, because that's what we do. We talk PPW because that's what we're going to be seeing this Saturday. Gonna go, Basser. I want to know what are your thoughts? What match out of the roster that's there? We got. I'm just going to name a few names. We got Riley Cruz. We got Phil Deadly. We've got Mars the Specialist. We've got Taryn from Accounting. Bucky McGraw. Cannonball Kelly. We got El Asesino. We got them all. Brock Arani. Cheek Akbar Shabazz. There's a better one. Let's turn it around. Sheik has to defend his title this card. Say if PPW management forces the case, who do you want to see get the shot, knowing that the other two guys are currently locked up in a number one contender match?
Oh boy. Papa, you got something? I got to think.
All right, go to Papa Smokes first.
I'm going with, let's give the people what they want. Title shot, first ever title shot, Phil Deadly.
This is true. Phil Deadly did have a one-on-one encounter with the champion Sheik, but it wasn't for the belt. Sheik actually made an open challenge, but in a non-title capacity, and Phil Deadly came up only slightly short in that one. He was very close to also getting the victory over the champ. Yes, BDJ, Uncle Phil Deadly.
Yeah.
He's too damn deadly, and he's going to be too damn deadly again. But I think that's a great selection. I would love it. You know, we've only seen Phil Deadly progress even further since that initial run against the champion. I think that Phil's just the type, and again, feeding off the electricity of the PPW Nation, maybe capable of putting the champ's shoulders to the match, and that then changes everything when it comes to that title picture and that number one contenders match as well, too. Basser, have you had a chance to think about it?
Yeah, and I looked at the picture of the roster because I was nervous. When you said what match are you looking forward to see, I started to panic because I was like, I don't know all the matches, but I started thinking, who am I excited to see? And two things popped in my head: Riley Cruz, and and since you guys brought up Bucky's tag team, I wanted to see them. So let's say I want to see Riley Cruz versus Sheik. Let's see if Sheik can. Let's see if Sheik can back his intensity. He's a young guy. He's quick. He's got the hair. Sheik doesn't, you know. Masculine hair, and Sheik just be like this, you know.
And Bobby bringing up a very interesting point because, again, this is somebody who holds a victory over Riley Cruz from the previous event, Jack Pride. How about Jack Pride going up against Sheik Akbar Shabazz? Jack Pride, especially lately, has been very aggressive, very dark, very vicious inside that ring, and again, dominated most of the match against Riley Cruz. Riley did everything to try to fight back, but Jack Pride was on a whole different level at that last event there. How do you guys feel about that, Jack Pride, if he was to get a shot?
It's a heck of an idea, I think, and hadn't been thinking of Pride, but there's a guy that's an experienced Canadian wrestler. He's been in the business for a long time, and he's got, I'm not sure if it's to his advantage or his disadvantage, but we know Pride. There's Jack, and then there's Pride. He's got the dual-natured personality, and the quarreling between the two confuses him a little bit sometimes, but I also think it drives him on to greater aggression sometimes. So I could totally see Jack Pride versus Akbar Shabazz for the title.
That would be great. Bobby mentioning that tonight on MLW Fusion, Filthy Tom Lawler, Alexander Hammerstone, and Josh Bishop took on the Beaumaye Fight Club, O'Shea Edwards, our boy Jay Bougie, and of course Papa Smokes, his close personal friend, Mr. Thomas. That means that we're going to have to check out some MLW Fusion after we wrap things up here on Ring Respect Radio. And BDJ saying Cannonball is the champ we all deserve. And again, one could make the argument that Cannonball has had multiple opportunities at that title, but I would say only one of those opportunities ended in a legit victory when Sheik won the ladder match. Now, when it came to the other encounter, there was some involvement there that cost Cannonball Kelly, and the argument could be made that Cannonball Kelly has never really had that one-on-one proper opportunity against Sheik Akbar Shabazz, especially in a one-on-one wrestling match. Remember that when they first went for the belt, it was a ladders match. Imagine what we would get if we got Cannonball Kelly, Sheik one-on-one in a pure, just standard wrestling match. Bob Smokes, your thoughts on that?
For sure. And going to the BDJ's comment there too, Cannonball is absolutely one of the PPW wrestlers that you can picture holding the the main heavyweight championship of the company, because he's got this long pedigree of great Saskatchewan and Western Canadian wrestling behind him, and as well as a performer for PPW, he's always lurking around the main event of the show. He's booked high on the card. His rate of success, it can't be questioned. So we've seen him have some knockdown, drag-out fights with Sheik Akbar Shabazz, coming very, very close to winning the title. Yeah, I would agree with that comment, is that Cannonball Kelly is one of the guys who is suited to and can handle the job of being champion in a competitive company like Prairie Pro Wrestling.
Very well said. Basser, your thoughts? Cannonball Kelly, is that opportunity something we'd like to see?
Cannonball's had lots of opportunities, but if one thing I think about Cannonball is I don't think he needs a belt. I think the fans love him no matter what match he's in. It's a big match. He's always got a big feud going on. There's always something going on with Cannonball. I think at a time he was probably the guy to take the belt off Sheik, but I think he's got bigger fish to fry now. I think there's other people in line first before him. First.
I mean, we've talked about a lot of the conniving ways that the champ has managed to get himself out of situations and remain the champ, but let's not kid ourselves. He jokes about being the longest reigning Prairie Pro Wrestling champion in history, and as long as nobody pins or submits the champion, that is going to continue for a very long time, even when we introduce tag titles. Because if this continues the way that it's been continuing, we could be seeing one of the longest reigns of championship in Saskatoon's history for sure, definitely. If we haven't already, the dominance that Sheik has had since winning that belt, we're now borderline moving towards 2 years as the Prairie Pro Wrestling champion now. Match after match, people have tried again and again and again to derail his run. But for all the gloating, all the bragging, everything like that, let's not take anything away. We have a dominant champion, a very dominant champion that no matter how he goes about it, he knows how to hold on to his gold. And I want to get your thoughts, Basser, on Sheik Akbar, and then we'll go to Papa Smokes.
Sheiky's a beast. I think the only way someone's going to beat him is if someone new shows up, because I feel like he's ran through the roster. I love Tony. I feel like Tony has a good chance, but I've just got flashbacks of seeing Tony get his ass kicked by Sheik. Way too many times.
That pile driver. Oh.
And it's like, you hope for Tony, but it's like, it hasn't happened yet. When's it going to happen? Who's going to do it? I have no idea. Will it happen?
See, for the longest time, and I mean, I still kind of hold this one close. I think that Colton Kelly had Sheik in that matchup. If it weren't for El Asesino, Colton Kelly would have won the championship, and I don't believe that Colton Kelly has had the opportunity yet to really show just how far he can go. And I believe that he's the guy that can get the job done. He just has to roll through Tony. But the momentum of Tony and the fear of the injury still looming on Colton Kelly is what holds me back from thinking that now is Colton Kelly's time. He might have been derailed a little too much to get the job done, but we know Colton Kelly's got a lot of heart and he's going to fight for it. He's a great dude and he will fight for it hard to try to get that opportunity and to try to become the champion. And I know the people would love that too. Your thoughts, Papa Smokes?
Yeah, I can't disagree with either of you guys, but all of these scenarios that have happened in the past have been would have, could have, might have, but nobody has yet. And that's the mark of a champion sometimes. The champion doesn't have to beat the challenger. The challenger has to beat the champion. And Sheik Akbar Shabazz has not been flashy or anything like that in his wins. He doesn't get the double bridge, roll up pin and all that stuff. All he does is protect the champion. championship that's around his waist. He reminds me a lot of great champions from the past, such as Harley Race and Ric Flair and Nick Bockwinkel, guys that didn't expend excess energy in flashily defeating their opponent. All they did was make sure that they left with that belt that night, and that's all that counts. That's the kind of champion the Sheik is as well. Some fans find it very frustrating, especially when he bends those rules a little bit, bends them to that breaking point quite often. But that's just it. He's going to do just what it takes to keep the championship around his waist, whether he gets counted out, disqualified. Sheik don't care. Sheik is still the champion after all this time.
You bet. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because it is very divisive amongst the PPW nation. There are some that find the champion quite amusing. They think it's hilarious that he calls himself the longest reigning champion, and they're okay with the tactics that Sheik Akbar Shabazz goes to. While you mentioned some of the fans are not, and they verbally were frustrated when Tony was not crowned as the champion. In that moment, the crowd erupted, thinking that it had finally been done. And when that was taken away from them, there was visible anger from some of the PPW nation, including a couple of them flat out telling me, I'm done with this crap. I am not coming back to another Prairie Pro Wrestling show ever again because I hate that Sheik Akbar Shabazz keeps winning or keeping his belt by playing dirty. And
Perfect.
I said to them, I'm like, you'll be back because you want to know who it is that's going to finally beat Sheik Akbar Shabazz. And that's what keeps you coming back every single time. And sure enough, lined up nice and early within the first 10 people outside of Prairie Pro Wrestling Presents Ring of Horrors was those exact fans who said they would never show up to a Prairie Pro Wrestling show ever again. And there they were, ready to watch Prairie Pro Wrestling in action because, again, you might be visibly mad because of something like that happening, but you know that you're drawn right back in. You have to get back in. Just like Barry Monkey's always drawn in to joining us here on Ring Respect Radio. We need a video in wrestling. 5-minute pauses in matches while footage is VAR in professional wrestling. Just we got a call in the match here. Hold on, pause. Got a flag in the ring. The decision is it'll be kind of like
a nightmare. They already take up too much time in football. Now they've got them in hockey too, I noticed, and it's such a momentum killer.
And even football or soccer as we call it over here in North America, that has been introduced recently too. Very frustrating as a fan to watch that kind of stuff. Yeah, VAR, suck it. Pretty much. Bobby saying, yeah, Bobby. Yeah. But yeah, as far as it goes, PPW is going to be off the hook this coming Saturday night. I can't wait to hang out and just have a good time. Last show of the year, boys. Last show of the year. I don't know for sure when the next show is. I'm assuming February. I remember last year, Love is Dead or whatever was the title of the card in February. It seems to be that we're going back to doing repeat names because some of those names were well cemented and well enjoyed by the fans. Season's beatings. This is the second season's beatings. So this is now becoming an annual event for Prairie Pro Wrestling, much like Ring of Horrors did. You know, at first we the titles of the shows kind of relied on numbers of what the shows were and stuff like that. Like it was second to none and things like that. And what was it? Episode 3, Return or Revenge of the Mark, stuff like that, you know. And I honestly, I think 5 was when we finally returned from, and we got to call it Bud Light 19 on here, just for the Google bots. But during that time that we had shut down and everything happened, there was a lot of shows that could have happened that didn't. But since then, we've been on fire, been coming back. Have you guys ever done a show in January? Yes, Bobby, we did actually, because guess what? The show we did do in January was right around my birthday that year. And me and the boys here that you see on screen went over to a little pub called Amigos and tied one on pretty decently that night. It was a very good Video Bros party that we had. Or no, we went to Black Cats, wasn't it? It was Black Cats because Amigos was closed that evening.
Yeah,
so we went over to Black Cats. That was the chili dog story. When we heard the DJ with the song with the chili dogs. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a fun night. That was poor referees' decisions in sports are half the fun as a fan. Complaining you were cheated, VAR ruins it. Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of that. Whenever I've done my watch-alongs for watching Manchester United matches, I scream about VAR quite often. It's only me sitting here by myself, probably several beers into my morning, even though it's like 5 or 6 a.m. here. And pretty much just screaming at the top of my lungs that VAR sucks and has ruined my life. But then again, watching Manchester United over the last 10 years has also ruined my life. Ayo! On we go.
Well, the way I look at it is in sports, they may not get it perfect every time, but referees played the sport their whole life and refereed the sport their whole life. They see what's going on in the field. Yeah, they can't see absolutely everything, but they know these sports situations in this game. They've seen them a million times more than any of us have seen them. Any of us TV watching fans out there, these guys are right down there on the field. They've been there a million times. Have refs or don't have refs, but if you have refs, leave it up to them. They know the damn game. Listen to them and stop your complaining.
Yeah, Barry saying, think yourself lucky I'm an Everton fan. Barry, I won't embarrass you by talking about that 3-0 beating that Manchester United laid on you the other day. I wouldn't want to mention that on screen and let the whole world know that my failing Manchester United team stomped your team 3-0. That would just be terrible. I mean, come on. You can throw it back at me, Barry, because our run in the Champions League, when we go and allow a 2-0 lead to turn into a 3-1 lead and then blow it and tie the game, yeah, we suck. I get it. But wrestling, boys, it's going to be fun. There's going to be beers. Again, are we going to see another record-breaking liquor sales night at Prairie Pro Wrestling? Last time out, the Maniacs, they drank it all, man. They drank it all. That booze sales was lit. And again, huge thanks to the volunteers that we have that are selling the liquor, selling the snacks, taking tickets. Not enough praise goes to the people behind the scenes at Prairie Pro Wrestling, such as the people at the front door taking tickets, doing stamps, selling booze tickets. And again, the concession stand as well, too. Those people are, in my mind, the unsung heroes of Prairie Pro Wrestling.
Don't forget the 50-50 girl, Munson.
Yep, 50-50 girls out there as well, too. And again, props to Rachel Ling, who's been down at ringside lately as well, too, taking pictures.
Yes.
What a storied career that she has had in professional wrestling, documenting and taking pictures for decades now. You know, I'm almost curious, Pops, folks. I almost think we should ask Rachel to come onto an episode of Ring Respect Radio one of these nights here and join us to talk about her career in photography with professional wrestling. Her stuff has been used in documentaries, books, everything you can think of in professional wrestling at some point in time. If it happened in Western Canada, Rachel was probably there documenting it.
That's one hell of an idea, Munson. I like that a lot. And she's nice and talkative and approachable and everything. Let's get her on.
Yeah, I think so too. Daryl the Amazing, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Really appreciate you coming by. Ring Respect Radio here. You haven't been around lately. Been missing you. Hang out more often. Love having you here. As always, we love having everybody here joining us here. It's been an electric chat here tonight. Again, if you have any last minute questions for us about Prairie Pro Wrestling or just in general for us, the Video Bros here, but nothing much. How's the wrestling? Prairie Pro Wrestling's been great. MLW's been great. We got One Shot coming up next Thursday night. It's going to be a hell of a good time. Looking forward to that. Yeah, can't complain, Dara. Fun show. Thank you, Astrid. Really glad that you were able to enjoy the show, Ring Respect Radio, here tonight. We've always had a blast doing these things here. But yeah, boys, any last minute thoughts about this coming weekend, Basser? Last minute thoughts going into this?
It's always my favorite day of the month, and nothing will be different this month. So that's all I got to say.
That is
And
very
that's
fair.
including Christmas. I mean, come on. That's a lot to say.
How about yourself, Pop Smokes? Any last minute thoughts here?
Every time I anticipate a PPW show coming up on the weekend, I think of that smell, that hot dog water, cigarette smoke, and sweat smell that means I'm at a wrestling show. Woo! Can't wait, baby. It hasn't even gotten that cold up here in Canada yet. It's wild, eh? No
Yeah.
snow around here yet, and temperatures hanging on to just fall or autumn temperatures feels a little weird so far, but it's going to change soon, and with it comes wrestling time and then Christmas time.
For sure. We are just heading into a bit of an ad break here going on. I think I can cancel it. Let's cancel the ad break if I can. I'm not sure if I can, but I'll try. If that doesn't work, unfortunately, we will be going into an ad break if you're on the Twitch side. And we're also going to be raiding out very soon. I'm thinking get your pinkies up, boys, because I think we're going to send this raid over to Allison K. So we want everybody to stick around on the Twitch side and say hello to Allison K when we send you over there. But in the meantime and in between time, Basser, anything you need to plug, any social media or anything you want people reaching out to you at? Or he takes the shot. Oh no, not quite the repeat as last time.
Nothing to say.
Close, very close.
Me and the repeat last time. Just have a good night.
There he goes. He's leaving. He's walking out. Bastard, we want to thank you for joining the show. It was a great time having you here. But we've got the super ticker, the most expensive ticker in the world, right there from Papa Smokes. What do you got there, my man?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I got some social media contacts. Not many, but I have two. I am on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland, known as X. I am at smokes_papa. And then I can be found on Twitch every so often, at least every Thursday night, at papa_smokes_.
Bastard saying thanks as his camera gets knocked out in the process. And we're going to go on over to my ticker there. That's where you can find me, Bobby Munson, on all the socials, as well as finding me over on Twitch, _Bobby Munson, where you might see some terrible gaming from me, but you can also catch me here throughout the week on our local establishment where you saw that ticker up below. That is where you can find all the stuff, our OLE and OLE podcast related, as we are starting to gear up the raid. The raid is getting fired up. So if you're on the Twitch side, say hello to Allison K as we're sending you over there in just a matter of seconds. But if you are on the YouTube side, hang out with us for just a little bit longer while we say our final goodbyes. We are now heading over on the Twitch side there. You should be over to Allison K, say hello. And on the YouTube side, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Check out Prairie Pro Wrestling this coming Saturday night. Good night, dear amazing. Good night, Astrid. Thank you for joining the show. Really appreciate it. And here we go. We're out. We will see you guys next Thursday night for the MLW One Shot Watch Along. Take care, everybody.